Today, what you're going to hear are 4 key chapters. The first is why, of course, don't buy this Singapore savings bonds. It's not don't buy Singapore savings bonds, it's don't buy this issue of Singapore savings bonds. I'll explain what the offer exactly is. The second chapter, I'll explain why long-term interest rates have actually shot up. I don't know if you know about it or not, but it has skyrocketed. The third is 2 consequences of interest rates going up, the long-term interest especially. And the fourth is actually what to expect for next month's Singapore savings bonds. I believe there will be a much better offer and I'll justify why. That's a big chapter, so stay tuned for it. With that, let's roll in the intro video. Hi guys, welcome back. Without further ado, let's start with the reason of why don't buy this issue of Singapore savings bonds. Let's pull it out for all of us to see, and you would realize that it actually is going to give you 2.66% for the first year, and then it'll rise gradually, and by the 10th year, it'll give you 3.01%. The average return over the 10-year period is 2.81%. Not too bad if you compare against CPF OA rates. Not too bad also if you compare against the last 2 months issue. November issue was 2.25 for 1 year, 10 years 2.56. October 2.59% for 1 year, 2.77% on average for 10. It's also actually not too bad when you compare against fixed deposits. This is one that I've actually shared in the previous video. By Hong Leong, 2.7% for 6-7 months. And for 11 months, 2.55% only. So you would see comparatively, this Singapore savings bond issue looks okay, correct? You can freely withdraw anytime also, with interest earned some more. Fixed deposits, you terminate it prematurely, I think you do suffer interest loss. You can also withdraw flexible amounts of Singapore savings bonds. If you have 100,000, you can easily withdraw just $10,000. So it's fully flexible and a great vehicle for emergency cash. It looks not too bad from this angle, but when we look at it from a different angle, the rationale of not buying this issue comes very true. And that leads to a second chapter, why long-term interest rates have suddenly shot up. I'm sure you know this, right? Donald Trump has won the US election. Very polarizing person, and we may be seeing very extreme policies coming out from him. But what we can see is the 10-year US Treasury yield climbing up for the last few months. Donald Trump won his election on 6th of November, and as you can see, it spiked up yet another leg, correct? As in the red arrow over there. You may be thinking, hey Josh, I can see the green arrow. Start of October, it started to climb already, and why? Let me show you the reason, and that's actually market's expectation of Donald Trump's victory started as early as then. This is a betting average for US presidency. You would see that it was a tight race all the way until the start of October, and then Donald Trump pulled clearly ahead of Kamala Harris. The more certain his victory, the more the long-term bond yield started to rise. So markets have actually years on the ground, right? They can forecast who's the winner and why Donald Trump will impact long-term rates. This is actually from a CNA commentary of implication on Donald Trump's policies. His signature proposal is a 10 to 20% tariff on all imports and 60% tariffs on imports from China. This could mean that US consumers could face higher prices, which also could mean inflation in US possibly ticking up. So if it does, the bond yields are actually reflecting that higher reality, because 10 years later, inflation could be higher in US due to his policies. So when he says that he wants US to be a manufacturing superpower again, more jobs for people over there, there is a price to pay. Will he be able to execute all these policies? I think only time will tell. But we can quickly guess 2 consequences of interest rates going up, which is our third chapter. Let me share with you the first consequence. If you have previously bought the October or November issue of Singapore savings bonds, I would be suggesting something for you to consider. Again, not financial advice. Consider pros and cons first. I do think if you own these 2 issues, you can strongly consider recycling the Singapore savings bonds to get higher yields, which means quite simply sell that old issue and get ready to buy the next issue coming up next month in December. Now with long-term interest climbing up again, these 2 do not offer that well. And I'll explain my expectations for next month's issue right to the end of this video. If you agree with my suggestion, do note also the redemption of bond must be by 2nd of December. I do understand the deadline, and that's why I'm sharing this late at night, filming this before I sleep. And as always, if you appreciate the effort, help me smash the like button so you can reach more Singaporean families to help them in their financial decisions. This latest last two issues were really unpopular. You would see that the issue size shrunk, and not just that, the amount of applications was just a pathetic percentage. October issue, 800 million offer, only 206 million purchased. November, 600 million issue, only 99 million. So for the 99 million who applied, go and recycle. You only pay $2 to sell and $2 to buy. If you click on sell right now, it will come out on 2nd December and you can buy towards the end of December already. So in essence, it's free lunch for you, and I do think the increase of interest will more than cover this cost. I've actually shared with private clients not to buy the November SSB issue. And for them, I actually have a private newsletter that I produce every month. This is the latest one with a snapshot of the recently completed Joshtan Meet 2024. If you're attending, leave in the comment sections. I hope it was a great session. And inside this newsletter, I share my market insights as well as all the deals I see on the market so that you can make informed decisions. If you're keen for a copy of this month's newsletter, look for links below and send me your email. I'll get my team to forward you a copy. With that, let's move on to the 4th chapter, which is what to expect from next month's Singapore savings bonds. I think what can be forecasted now should be quite accurate already. I don't know the February-March issue for next year, but what I can say for the January 2025 issue, which will be selling from December onwards, it'll be more than 3%. Pretty good, correct? I thought that the era of Singapore savings bonds at 3% was over already. Mr. Donald Trump's victory has brought this opportunity back for low-risk investors. What are my predictions if you want to buy? Let's look again at 10-year Treasury yield. As you can see, right now, the rates are around what we see in July, which is actually when the August issue was sold. So using this insight, I would guess that the 10-year average for the coming January 2025 Singapore savings bonds will be around 3.15 to 3.25% on a 10-year average. The 1-year average might be slightly lower, maybe closer to 3% because Fed is cutting rates, correct? But the long-term average yield should be high. If I'm right, that could be 0.4 or 0.5% better than this issue we have right now. So if you are a retiree needing passive income cash flow, I think this must be great news to you. Singapore savings bonds are risk-free, guaranteed by government. And a further strategy to that is that if you are going to have some mortgage refinancing next year, I would suggest to also secure Singapore savings bonds right now. Buy 200,000 if you can, that's a limit per person. And when you do refinancing next year, if you can get a rate around 2.5, 2.6%, which is what the market is offering now, you can in fact earn a free spread. Guaranteed SSB returns, higher than your guaranteed fixed rate in mortgage. No need to pay down your mortgage loan. So I think that will be a strategy that is pretty good. And since you start me at the very end, I have a further tip also. If you happen to be above the age of 55, you should know that from next year, your special account would be closing. And if you have full retirement sum, you can actually withdraw out your monies already. You do know that, right? So consider this. What if you withdraw your special account monies to buy next month's issue of Singapore savings bonds that I project to be around 3.15 to 3.25%? But you may be thinking, hey Josh, special account pays me 4%. If I withdraw it to buy this, wouldn't I be losing? That is partially true because 4% is 1 year of interest. If you withdraw special account in December, you only lose 1 out of 12 months of interest, correct? It's not 4% or not 4.14%, which is the current rate. Your opportunity cost is actually 1 out of 12 of 4.14%. So if you withdraw out and lock in this, before money's moved to ordinary account, you could be ahead of a wave of people next year that will be doing the same thing. In my expectations, I believe when special account closes and all that money flows to OA at 2.5%, a lot of people would be withdrawing out. By then, the chances of getting full allocation of 200,000 may not be there already. So I'd like to suggest consider to be a bit more kiasu and weigh the pros and cons of securing something that's 3+% from your CPF monies. Coming in the month ahead, I'll be doing more videos on CPF changes because that's a big news for 2025, correct? And if you'd like to stay tuned, smash the subscribe so you get notified when I release a video from there. Thank you very much, and as always, let me introduce you to some of my previous tutorials. The first is my full discussion on possibly big CPF outflows next year, and the second is Singapore Savings Bond Ladder concept. Hopefully either of these tutorials can be of help for you, and with that, I'll sign off and see you there. Take care as always, goodbye.